When we start a spiritual path, there's often the question of who we are. This is the ultimate question of spiritual seekers, recognizing your true self. But why is it so important to know? And how do we know that we have spiritually awakened? This is the topic of today's video. So, my name is Avi, and I wrote the book, The Art of Not Knowing, Practical Guide to Spiritual Awakening. And often I feel like people want to understand, but what is spiritual awakening? Why do I need it? So the example that I give is a very simple example that maybe many of us know. It's the moment when we want to kill some time. So we take up our phone and we open Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. And the algorithm knows us best. So it shows us what we love. A funny cat video, latest news, something that you enjoy watching, and you scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll, short stories, short movies, and an hour has passed, and all of a sudden you wake up and you realize that where did that time go? You had so many other things to do, but you lost yourself in the maze of looking at the screen. And you don't even remember what you watched for the last hour. It was like an autopilot, and you were numb. The moment you wake up to that and look around and say, oh, what happened? I just spent an hour, just killed an hour. I just lost an hour. That's the moment of spiritual awakening. It's an example of how spiritual awakening is like, because most of our life we live conditionally. We are conditioned by culture, by what should or shouldn't be, by society, by religious beliefs, by our parents telling us what to do, and by how others perceive us. We don't want to be perceived in a bad light, so we behave accordingly. And if you find yourself resonating with what I'm saying, then ask yourself then, what is that? Why do we need to be conformed to other people's beliefs? We have a life to live, yet we are always conditioned by what is should and shouldn't, by limiting ourselves in many ways. And we don't notice that we're doing it. Like, for example, when I was young, I saw my schoolmates dancing, and I didn't feel good in my body at that time. And I said to myself, I would never dance. I never dance. And that was the limiting belief I left for myself to wake up to in recent years. I never realized that actually that was limiting me in that space. And we have many, 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 many examples of this. Another example I like to give is the example of, in some cultures, in some societies, we have this idea of a plate, of putting the plate on the table, and the knife on the left and the fork on the right, and you have to put the spoon on the top, and there's a butter knife and there's a fish knife. And you can imagine yourself walking into a dinner with the plates and the cutlery organized on the table, feeling like you feel like something is wrong with you, like you don't know where to put the butter knife. This is absolute fallacy. We don't even notice that actually we are okay for not knowing it. It's society that dictated this strange order on things on the table. And when you wake up to that, that's the moment of spiritual awakening. When you say, I actually did not realize that all of my life was conditioned. And when you wake up to that moment, that you say to yourself, I want to live authentically according to who I am. And that's the reason why we need to know who we are. That's the ultimate question in spirituality, because when we wake up, we need to live according to who we are, not according to what society and culture dictated to us, not according to how our neighbors can perceive us, rather than how we want to live authentically. So then we can start following our heart rather than our mind. Rather than the conditions and the emotions, we follow the intuition and the inspiration and what the heart is calling us to do. And you have to recognize the difference. And when you wake up to that, you deeply need to know who you are, so you can then say to yourself, yes, I spent an entire life living conditionally, but now I'm unconditional. And I can live and take a step forward from today, live authentically. There's a lot of joy in it. So the question is who we are is interesting because often when you ask, who are you? You can say, I am this name and I am this position at work and I do this and this and I love that, this and that. But really, is that you? If you change your position, is this still you? And if you change your name, is this still you? Your body continuously evolves and changes. Is this still you? And are you your thoughts? If you can see your thoughts, who can observe those thoughts? And if you cannot quiet the mind, if you say to yourself, I want to stop thinking for a while, you can't. So who is doing the thinking? And who can see that the thoughts just keep going? These are all pointers to recognize your true nature. Once you do that exercise with yourself and start looking deeply, peeling the layers of who you are, then at some point, when there's no more objections, no more questions, there's just a place where you just say, perhaps that's more who I am. And then when you can recognize that, there's a certain calmness inside that brings an awakening to, whatever they were saying to me, whatever they were telling me before is actually not true. I don't have to do that. I don't need to do that. It's not for me. It's for them maybe. Maybe it's the greatest thing in the world for them, but not for me. Often we find people going to college, learning, but after getting the degree, they realize it's actually not what they wanted to do. You wanted to be a ballerina, but you took on computer science. Or you wanted to be a chef, but you became a lawyer. Because why? Because your parents were conditioning you, pushing you towards that. And you lived according to their mind, according to their standards, not according to your authentic self. And that's the moment when you say to yourself, actually, I want to study to become a chef. And this is what I really want. This is where the true joy lies. And this is when you can fulfill your life's mission. And there's a lot of joy in it. Once we start recognizing that all of what we were taught is not, it was helpful, it helped us grow, but at this moment of realization, when you look up from your phone and realize, where did that hour go? You say, everything in life is a lesson. If you didn't learn, it was a mistake. So there are no mistakes actually, because if you learn and you see, this is something I just learned, I can take a step forward from today and enjoy the benefits of that realization. So that's it. I hope it was meaningful and I hope it was inspiring. If you have any objections to what I'm saying today, questions, please ask below, because I love to engage with you. And even if you don't agree, please write it below. I will answer it, and because it helps me grow. And if you're watching, why not subscribe? It shows me that this is meaningful to you, and it helps me, it encourages me to create more videos. If you want to read my book, The Art of Not Knowing, A Practical Guide to Spiritual Awakening, where I try to more simplify even further the spiritual wisdom that is often hard to understand. When you read all these spiritual books, it's sometimes really, really hard to grasp something that is timeless. The mind cannot comprehend timeless wisdom because it lives in time. So I try to simplify the wisdom so the mind can grasp it a little bit, and then it goes into the heart. This is the purpose of me doing these videos and writing the book. So thank you for listening, and see you in the next video.